rooting for you, it's your girl TC, aka not your average career coach who you wish was your teacher at school. Oh God! Welcome to part 1 of my wellbeing and work series. It's going to be a 4-part series where I talk about all things personal development, self-care and wellness. Because as you know, us career girls need to take care of ourselves. Okay. For those of you who follow Not Your Average Girl or me personally on socials, you may have noticed a statement that I put out in August to say that I stepped away due to ongoing health problems. In fact, during that time, I just deactivated my personal social accounts altogether. Typically, I'm not the kind of person to make a fuss, hop, skip or dance when it comes to personal issues. However, in this case, it's a bit different, and if it's going to help someone, then there's a time to speak up and say, sis,
you are not alone.
As the title says, I had cystic acne.
Oh hell no!
By Healthline.com definition, cystic acne is the most serious type of acne. It develops when cysts form deep underneath your skin. This can result from a combination of bacteria, oil and dry skin cells that get trapped in your pores. Now, I have oily skin, which means my skin is very prone to cystic acne. However, it's not exclusive to people who have oily skin. It's also more common in women with hormonal imbalances. Today I am coming to you bare, hashtag no makeup, so you can get the most authentic comparison of how bad my skin actually got and how it got better. July 20th was the first time that I started to notice that my skin was breaking out a lot more than usual, including having a massive blind pimple on my chin. It was just really painful. I kept having my hands in my face, which aggravated it even more, and it just became more prominent and it got worse, and I just hated it and it was really gross. By July 23rd, acne started to form between my eyebrows here, and again it was very sensitive and painful to touch. July 27th, I had put makeup on for the first time in months. Obviously really poor decision, but because I was going out, I obviously tried to cover it up. August 8th, I literally woke up like this. I don't think you quite understand. My skin literally transformed on me overnight, and we were not prepared. And it just got worse and worse and worse until I was like, enough is enough. I just couldn't go on like this. I was miserable, it was painful, tender, itchy, all of that. Like, I could barely touch or wash my face properly because it was so sore and sensitive. Overall, this started to take a really big emotional toll on my mental health and well-being. I just felt really ugly, if I'm being honest. Social media at the time was not helping my self-concept in any shape or form.
You can't do it!
And on top of that, I'd also been diagnosed with costochondritis. I hope I'm saying that correctly. So costochondritis is an inflammation of the cartilage that joins your ribs to your breastbone. In a nutshell, I had and still have sometimes very sharp chest pain and tenderness that just randomly starts just suddenly whenever it feels like it, and it can be actually made worse by lying down, so it affects my sleep. Even just sneezing makes my chest hurt. For months I had to stop any form of physical activity or exercise just because it was so painful. If you've never had this before, it can be very disconcerting, and no exaggeration, it can literally feel like you're experiencing similar symptoms of a heart attack. Not only did I seek medical help from an NHS GP, but I also went to see a private doctor. It cost me £500. Yes, I know. However,
we in a pandemic, baby, and I ain't gonna play no games when it comes to my health now.
I had the money put away, I'm worth the investment, and it just helped put my mind at ease knowing exactly what was wrong with my body and what I could do to help myself. One thing that the doctor did mention is that this condition is very common in slimmer framed people. Anyway, back to the cystic acne. I ended up speaking to a herbalist who said there was too much copper in my system, and in order for it to function properly, it had to have a balance of both copper and zinc. When there's an imbalance of more copper than zinc, that's when you start to get stuff like acne and chronic fatigue, which made perfect sense. So the advice that I received from the herbalist was to take a sublingual B12, 10 milligrams of zinc and 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, and I had to give him an update in 3 weeks' time. Now we are at August 14th, I formed a new skincare routine / health plan, which consisted of using Dermalogica clearing skin wash twice a day, doing a daily sea moss gel face mask. My GP also prescribed 3 lots of Zymrite solution, which worked a treat. I made sure I was consistent with drinking 2.2 litres of water a day. I was also taking the supplements recommended from the herbalist daily. I'll try and leave links to things that I mentioned in this video in the description box below, but big disclaimer, obviously I'm not a doctor, herbalist, nutritionist or a medical advisor.
So please seek medical help from a qualified professional first before taking recommendations from content creators you watch online. Hashtag I'm not your mum fam.
Doing all of these things over time helped my skin to get better, and here are my results in pictures from August 15th to September 25th. Slowly but surely, we got there. In the grand scheme of things, I think my skin healed pretty quickly, to be honest, but while it was healing, it felt like forever. Like I said before, I didn't feel good about myself, and navigating work during this time was particularly tough. Obviously I didn't want to go on Zoom meetings and turn on my camera, but what made it even worse is that during this time I had to lead meetings and team brainstorms, so it was just like Up until August 26th, I hadn't actually left the house like at all, and it was during the UK heat wave. Y'all know it was hot. Imagine it's like 33 degrees outside and I'm just here
sitting up in my room.
I was so vexed. As well as the practical elements that helped my cystic acne to heal, it actually forced me to reevaluate just work-life balance in general. It forced me to take annual leave and actually take rest. And I started caring for myself, not necessarily better, but differently. Now don't get me wrong, self-care has always been a priority for me, but I took the time out to seek out what my body needed right then in that season. And mentally, I felt so much better for it. And my attitude is better both personally and professionally. I've always prided myself on being a career girl, someone who keeps pushing the boundaries and competes with herself to be the best version of herself. But I think this underlying pressure mixed with everything else that has transpired this year has just been a lot. And I do believe that it was a mixture of work-related stress and events of the news that just caused my body to stress out. In particularly the death of George Floyd, the Black Lives Matter movement, and events that followed after that took a huge toll on my mental and emotional well-being. This is obviously not just exclusive to me, but work-wise, I was just incapable of functioning properly for weeks. I work in TV development where it's literally my job to come up with ideas for TV shows and formats. And I couldn't think. Then the whole N-word saga with the BBC kicked off. And I was just like, it's bad enough that I'm the first person in my entire family history to work in corporate TV, and trying to navigate this space and this system is so exhausting. And then you have this nonsense. Like, seriously. As an Afro-Caribbean woman working in TV, I have really felt the stress and toxicity of working in a predominantly white and middle-class environment more than ever before. 2020 has been a next level of stress, and for a long time I tried to ignore my body and keep going, but eventually it just got to the stage where taking annual leave was no longer a choice. Believe me, the last thing I want to do is show people how I look at my worst, but if this is a wake-up call for anybody watching this, then it's totally worth it. Work does not come before your well-being, and you are never too busy to self-care. And I actually did a pep talk on this before called Stop the Glorification of Busy. Make time. Yes, my job can be very demanding, and working from home hasn't made it any less demanding, but I've learned to adapt and keep adapting as things change. It means I can kick ass at work and still make time to have a hair care routine, a skincare routine, and a monthly manifesto of things that I would like to achieve outside of my career. We make time for what we want to make time for. We all get the same 24 hours. It's not about working hard, but working smart. I hope by me sharing my story that this video has been insightful and informative. Look after yourself, listen to your body, and remember that adequate rest and time to recenter yourself is just as important as the hustle. Until next time, stay blessed and keep it not your average. Ow, I just felt my neck clip.